If I told you your website traffic could drop by 30% next year, would you panic? I assume most business owners would. But what if I told you that at the same time, your inquiries could actually go up? Because thanks to Google's AI search and zero-click results, traffic is becoming a terrible way to measure whether your SEO is actually working. So here's one question I want you to sit with for the next few minutes. Would you rather have 10,000 new visitors to your website or 100 new customers? Hello, my name is Josh. I'm the founder of ImproveMySearchRanking.com, a specialist SEO agency and AI search agency based in London and 3-time winner of the UK Search Awards. Over the past 10 years, we've worked with well over 1,000 businesses, helping them generate in excess of £200 million in sales. And in today's episode, I want to challenge the single metric that most business owners still judge their SEO on and show you why it's quietly leading them in the wrong direction. So let's get into it. The first part of this video is about the great traffic illusion. So let me start with that question again, but make it a little bit harder. If I could guarantee you 10 million visitors to your website next year or 1,000 new customers, which one are you taking? As a local business owner, it could sound obvious, but when I put it like that, but many business owners still measure the success of their SEO campaign based entirely on website traffic levels. So think about the reports most people get from their SEO agency. Most of these are full of information like website visitors, sessions, clicks, but maybe these reports rarely mention things that actually matter. Inquiries, phone calls, sales, revenue numbers, and these are the most important things you need as a business owner. You don't particularly care, or you shouldn't really care if you're getting more visitors if you're not getting more sales. So picture these two businesses side by side. Business A gets 50,000 visitors a year and 15 inquiries. Business B gets just 2,000 visitors a year but gets 90 inquiries. Now, which one of these has a better SEO campaign? And in my opinion, it's not even close. It's the latter. Simply put, traffic is a vanity metric. Revenue is the metric that actually pays the bills. You can't pay your bills with website traffic, can you? So next up is the headline that Google is sending fewer clicks than ever before to websites. And this is rather interesting. So some research from SimilarWeb and SparkToro, Rand Fishkin, founder of Moz, looked at what actually happens when someone performs a Google search as of today in 2026. And in the UK, only 30.5% of Google searches now result in somebody actually clicking through to a website. That means nearly 70% of searches end without a user clicking anywhere at all, and they're just simply staying on Google. And interestingly enough, of all the countries that were analysed in the study, the UK had the highest zero-click rate. So if those clicks, or if there's no clicks happening in Google, what's actually happening? And it's not, well, it's fairly obvious, but Google is answering the questions on behalf of the user and not sending them elsewhere. So if you think about it, it might be the kind of weather searches, or a Google AI overview when you're searching for something informational, feature snippets, map results, business profiles, knowledge panels, shopping results, all this kind of stuff. So people can get answers directly from Google without leaving the platform and going to a separate website. So as a local business owner, should you be worried about this? Or is it simply changing how Is this changing how people are going to buy using search and AI search in the future? So as I just kind of alluded to, Google is no longer just a search engine. It is becoming the destination for many queries, and the users are not needing to go anywhere else. So next up, we have the idea that AI overviews are changing the user journey. So one stat in particular stood out to me from that SparkToro and SimilarWeb study, which was that Google AI overviews when Google AI overviews appear, studies have shown clicks on the traditional search results can fall by around 30% because people are getting the answer immediately and never need to leave to visit another website. So here's the part most people miss. Look at how the customer journey has changed, essentially. So the old user flow was simply go to Google, make a search, visit 5 or 6 websites, read the information, compare, make a decision. Nowadays, with the AI overviews and search on other LLMs like ChatGPT and Claude, etc., the LLM shortlists the best businesses from an initial query that has more context and a bit more information. And then the customer may only then check out one website because, interestingly enough, people are trusting the recommendations AI is providing. Although it might not check one, they might check 2 or 3, but back in the day, they may have checked 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different businesses. So fewer people are checking fewer businesses. And on the other hand, when people do click through to a business's website, they're probably closer to the end of the buying cycle. They're more informed. They've asked a few questions and got a few answers. So they're potentially more qualified. And this kind of brings us back to the kind of information in the intro that maybe it's not so bad that we're going to get less traffic if we're getting higher quality traffic that is more likely to convert into a sale. Another thing to bear in mind is the idea of informational searches versus buying searches. This is something a lot of business owners get wrong because they treat every single search query as the same value, but they're clearly not. So if somebody searches for what is SEO, or how long does my gas boiler last, or how often should I service my car, there's a very good chance that Google can answer that question directly in an AI overview, as can other LLMs. So there's no click needed in those cases. But if someone does search for a transactional term, for example, emergency plumber near me, window cleaner near me, mortgage broker in area XYZ, that is a completely different search with a completely different type of search intent. The person searching there is not looking for information, they're looking to hire somebody, and probably pretty immediately. So those searches still need to send people to businesses. They need to generate clicks or at least inquiries, because people need to actually get in touch with somebody. Unfortunately, as it stands, ChatGPT and Google can't fix your boiler or clean your windows. So research is showing at the moment that transactional searches are far more likely to turn into a click than an informational search query, which completely makes sense. So the clicks that you may be losing and the traffic that you may be losing are mostly the ones that we're never going to buy. Maybe they're at the very top of the kind of user journey, the top of the funnel, and they're not in a position to buy. Of course, it's good to get that traffic, and you can nurture that traffic and turn them and take them through the marketing funnel. But as it stands, still, we can target transactional keywords, end of the buying cycle keywords, and that is where people are more likely to spend money, and when you're going to generate business as a local service business. So with that in mind, there may be some new SEO KPIs to consider, or maybe already were looking at these. But the big one, which we probably were measuring in the wrong way, is simply traffic. Instead of asking how much traffic did we get, should we be asking instead how many inquiries are we getting, how many phone calls, how many bookings, how many appointments, how many quote requests, and ultimately how much revenue has search generated our business. So if we were to do a comparison again, or an example again, if we had one campaign with 1,000 visitors converting at 10%, that's 100 inquiries. Another campaign might have 10,000 visitors converting at 0.5%, which would be 50 inquiries. 10 times the traffic, but half the amount. Sorry, 10 times, there's 10 times more traffic in scenario 2, but half the conversion result. So Google may well send you fewer visitors going forward, but the ones they do send you should be better, higher quality visitors if you can optimize your site in the best possible way. So an important thing to consider is less traffic doesn't necessarily mean less business, because now I'll explain to you how you can kind of adapt your website or adapt as a local business to try to increase the number of conversions and sales you're getting. What can you actually do with this? So step 1 would be to stop chasing the click and start becoming the obvious choice when somebody's ready to buy. This means you need to improve your Google Business profile, your Bing Places profile. You need to be on Apple Maps and Foursquare and all the kind of major directories as a starting point. Secondly, you should be seeking out reviews across all platforms. Google Business Profile is obviously a great choice. Trustpilot, if you're a plumber, Checkatrade, Trust a Trader, whatever the go-to review channel is or platform in your particular industry, make sure you're building strong foundations there. Secondly, or thirdly, we need to think about increasing the quality of your service pages from a content standpoint, but also from a conversion standpoint and an SEO standpoint, of course. So in addition to that, make sure you have location-specific pages, location plus service-specific pages. Make sure you have lots of case studies and examples, before and afters, to showcase your expertise, showcase and demonstrate your expertise and authority by having accreditations, trust signals, awards, anything that's going to build your trustworthiness as a business, build a recognizable brand, and finally, we want to be tracking conversions, not just traffic. So in your Google Analytics 4 account, you can set up key events and track the conversions, how many times somebody's clicked on the email, completed a form, clicked on the phone number, etc. Whatever conversions you need to track in your particular business. So do these things, and it doesn't matter that Google will send less people to your website because you'll be getting inquiries and sales, which is, of course, the most important thing. So in conclusion, the businesses that win won't be the ones that get the most visitors. They'll be the ones that get the most customers. We could therefore say we have been measuring SEO through the wrong lens. If you were looking at traffic and traffic only, yes, Google will be sending less and less clicks than ever before to your website, but can we take advantage of the people when they do land on your website and turn them into sales? So we'll get less traffic, but more qualified traffic when people do actually land on your website. And that really is the goal with SEO anyway. We want high quality traffic leading to high quantities of conversions. So stop obsessing over traffic and start obsessing over conversions. I hope you found this useful. And if you did, feel free to subscribe or let me know what you'd like me to speak about next. And I hope to see you on the next video.